We are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
All right. Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. This is Abe, your host. It is November 26, 2025. As far as an update, I had a good birthday yesterday. I did work, which was fine, but it was a chill night. Thankfully, my boss, her shoulder healed up, so thanks for any thoughts and prayers you guys sent. You do that voodoo that you do so well. I actually get to go back on register here and there, kind of get a break from kitchen, which the pay is not as good, but keeps me sane to have a little break from kitchen every now and then, because kitchen is brutal. Kitchen ain't easy, man. It's tough shit. Sammy got me Teen Titans 2 for Game Boy Advanced, so that will be on a Blue Pill podcast episode probably for a game review. Most likely, I did review the first Teen Titans. Like I said, it most likely will be on a review, but apparently, it's very similar to the very first one, so I'm not sure if I'll be reviewing it or not. I don't know. We'll see. I'm currently playing Around the World in 80 Days for Game Boy Advance, so look forward to a review on that. I think that's about it for updates. Just got to work later today. Got up early today, which is kind of rare lately. I don't know why, man. I think it's the weather. Just feeling funky here and there, but this is the first day in a while that I've gotten up early. So I was like, fuck it, man. I'm going to podcast today, I have a Buy Me a Coffee account set up in the link below. If you donate, I will hook you up with one of these through snail mail. That's it for updates. Let's get on with the show. Oh, one more thing. I think it's tomorrow. Tomorrow, I believe, is Thanksgiving. If I don't podcast tomorrow and you don't hear from me, happy Thanksgiving, just because I do work tomorrow. Yeah, hope you all have a good Thanksgiving, Now let's get on with the show. So, I have a Frankenfood playlist, and this will be added to it. Because that is one thing, that's one of the conspiracies that I've reported on quite a bit throughout the years, is our food. Weird stuff with our food. For one, I find it interesting. And it ties in with the Great Reset of, you will own nothing and like it. Eat the grasshoppers, Ties in with the whole climate change hoax bullshit. Which reminds me, we need to cover, Bill Gates said something very interesting here recently about climate change. We'll have to cover that on an episode one day. Yeah, so apparently there was an audio that got released. Somebody was secretly recording the vice president of Campbell's Soup. I'm not going to lie, throughout the years, I have eaten Campbell's Soup. I usually go for the chunky brand because, I don't know, I like chunky soup, My thing was always Campbell's chunky clam chowder. That was my jam. But we might want to stop eating Campbell's Soup. So let's get into the story. A Campbell Soup vice president is on leave after a secret recording appears to show him mocking poor customers and 3D printed chicken. So, Campbell Soup Company put an executive on leave while investigating claims made in a lawsuit that he trashed the company behind closed doors, including mocking its poor customers and saying the company's meat came from a 3D printer. Now, this is the vice president of Campbell saying that. So, I don't know about you, but I would probably believe him if he's saying that the chicken is 3D printed or the meat in general is 3D printed. So the other day, this actually kind of hits home a little bit. The other day, Sammy made a gigantic pot of vegetable stew with actual little steak cuts. And, dude, it was fucking delicious. Like, I brought, like, my coworker a bowl. He was like, oh my God, this is so good. I'm like, yeah, because it's, like, real, you know? I make my vegetable stews a little different. I use, because hers is more like a clear broth. I use I use tomato soup and then a shit ton of vegetables, like usually veg all, a whole can of corn, because I really like corn. And I use ground beef instead of like the steak cuts. But throughout the years, man, like eating Campbell's, like yes, it gets the job done, but tasting the meat, I could see why people would say it's 3D printed. Like it's not that good, you know. I prefer homemade soups and stews and stuff. There's just nothing like homemade. In a statement Tuesday, the company said the alleged comments by Martin Bawley, Campbell's vice president of information technology, were quote-unquote unacceptable. Why? Because he's getting the truth out there? And by the way, this rant that he went on, I'm sure you could probably find the full audio. I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to read this article because it's an hour long. First of all, as a podcaster, that's impressive. The guy needs a podcast. Since it sounds like he's not going to have his job at Campbell Soup very much longer. If you can rant for an hour, dude, you need to be a podcaster. What was it? Alex Jones here recently during the whole debacle with Owen Schroyer when Owen left. Alex Jones did a 5-hour live broadcast bitching and complaining and like cussing about Owen Schroyer leaving. 5 hours, dude. It's fucking hilarious. But yeah, dude, if you can rant for an hour about soup and how much you hate your company and shit, like, start a podcast, dude. At least, you know, like, you'll have a job, you know. Such language does not reflect our values and the culture of our company, the company said. We do not tolerate that kind of language under any circumstances. And it will get into what he said, but, yeah. The move follows a lawsuit filed Thursday in a Michigan court by Robert Garza, a former cybersecurity analyst at the company who said he was fired after complaining about Bawley. And I'm going to chime in too with my thoughts on this here in a second after hearing more details. Because I had something last year that was kind of an interesting situation with a boss who came in drunk, cussing people, acting a fool. Yeah. According to the lawsuit, Garza recorded a meeting with Bawley where the executive insulted the intelligence of his Indian colleagues and said the company's products were for poor people. I mean, he's not wrong. How is that wrong? The company's product is for poor people. Like, most people can't afford to make stews and soups from scratch. you know. It is what it is. You know, I've lived off of canned soup for years. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it is what it is, man. The prices of everything are fucking high. The law firm representing Garza provided Business Insider with an apparent recording of the meeting. The recording was not included as an exhibit in the lawsuit, and Business Insider hasn't independently authenticated it. The recording features a conversation where a person belittles Campbell and its products. If you look at our fucking pantry, we have shit for fucking poor people, right? The person said. I don't buy fucking Campbell's products barely anymore, the person continues in a tirade. It's unhealthy. This is the vice president saying this, allegedly. It's unhealthy. So he's admitting, like, this is garbage food. At one point in the recording of the meeting, which appears to take place at a restaurant, the person refers to Campbell's food as bioengineered. Now, this doesn't surprise me whatsoever. I know this is like mind-blowing to... I've been listening to other content creators, you know, and some of them are like mind-blown by this, and it's like, are you really surprised though? I mean, unless you're buying like from a local market meat, you know, or vegetables, like everything's fucking bioengineered. Even veggies, you know. They're all Monsanto seeds. They're all, what is it? I think they call them Goliath seeds. They're like bioengineered, genetically modified seeds. And even the meat we do get that is real meat, the government makes them put so much hormones, vaccines in the cows, which we're inadvertently receiving while eating them. Like, all our food is poisoned, all our food is bioengineered, so this shouldn't be surprising to anyone, but it does kind of help as a conspiracy theorist that we've been saying this shit forever, and we're finally, due to the internet, which is honestly a blessing for us and a curse for them, because it's almost like the veil has been lifted and shit like this gets leaked. Like back in the 90s, this would have just got swept under the rug. You know, there's no way that this would have been played on mainstream radio. Maybe there would have been an article somewhere about it, but like for the most part, like this would have been swept under the rug, you know. Now that we have the internet, it's fucking everywhere, you know. But it shouldn't surprise you that food's bioengineered and the vice president's saying it, but it is nice to hear someone so high up in a company saying it. And especially, too, I would think that this shit happens more with larger, more mainstream companies rather than like generic companies that are more closer to what I guess we would call ma and pa, you know? So then he says, even in a can of soup, I look at it and look at bioengineered meat, the person said. I don't want to eat a fucking piece of chicken that came out of a 3D printer. Do you? I ain't gonna lie, dude. Like, the article's making this dude sound like a douche, and so far everything he's saying, like, as an employee, I'd be like, hell yeah, dude. You know, this guy's going Wolf of Wall Street mode, like fucking, what was his name? Jordan Belfort, you know, he's just going Jordan Belfort mode. Like, he's had enough. His conscience has come into play, you know. And I've had this shit with jobs before. Like, I was talking to my mother-in-law the other day, because I have the option of being a car salesman, you know. And I told her, I was like, you know, I'm able to do that. Like, I used to sell high-end bourbon for a bar called Beaumont Inn. It's like a four-star restaurant, a real uppity place. Like, you had to comb your hair, wear a button-up shirt, you know, tuck in your shirt. You had to look nice, had to speak proper, and I remember selling like $100 to $150 shots of like high-end bourbon to rich people, and having to lie through my teeth and be like, yeah, dude, it's so worth it. It's so smooth, and you can smell the oak, and oh, it's so good. It's so rare, you know. And sorry, my computer's being dumb today. It does kind of weigh on your conscience a little bit. Like, it wasn't like tormenting me, but there are times that I would come home with a shit ton of money and just be like, damn, dude, like, I just fucking bullshitted my way through, you know, these combos, and like sold this person. Like, this person wasted their money, you know, $100 for a shot, you know, and here I am, like, it's the one and only chance you'll ever get, you know. That, and it's like, I never felt like I was doing like a good thing, because like there was people who were regulars, who had like liver damage, who weren't even supposed to be drinking, health problems, and here I was just pouring their poison, like helping them die. So that type of shit plays on your conscience, you know. And some people just kind of break, you know. There'd be times I'd be telling my wife, like, yes, this pays my bills, but like I don't feel good about what I'm doing, you know. That's why, like, I don't know. It's one of those things. So it sounds like this dude is just like, dude, I've had enough. My conscience is eating at me. Like, I'm gonna fucking go on a rant, you know. Elsewhere in the recorded conversation, the person recounts an instant where he tried to help a colleague with a tech issue. He blamed Indians in an explicit-filled rant for not resolving it without him. Bali didn't immediately respond request for comment. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of side with him on that. Like, I mean, you can call me fucking racist, whatever, I don't care, but I cannot tell you how many times I have called, not for tech support, but just trying to get business done, whether it be like health insurance or something. And like, this kind of ties in with the H1B1 or whatever. Either it's a fucking robot on the other end, or it's an Indian who I can barely understand, and they never seem to be able to resolve the problems. It is kind of aggravating. It's like, I don't know. So, I mean, call me racist, whatever. I don't give a fuck. I kind of understand his sentiments on that too. In its statement Tuesday, Campbell said the remarks about its food were patently absurd, and that the chicken meat in its soups come from long-trusted USDA-approved U.S. suppliers. First of all, isn't that a government entity? Like, that helps us at all. Like, oh, this USDA approved, so it's trusted. Okay, that doesn't mean shit to me. That might mean something to the average blue-pilled sheeple, but, you know. I love that shit, too. Like, well, once the vaccine is approved, you know, like the FDA or the whatever approved the vaccine, well, I'm still not gonna fucking take it. Like, it doesn't mean shit to me. Keep in mind, the alleged comments heard on the audio were made by a person in IT who has nothing to do with how we make our food, the company said. Okay, but he's the vice president of the company, so he knows his shit. You know, they're trying to like distance themselves from this dude of like, well, he's in IT. He's the vice president. You don't think the vice president knows where the food is coming from? The vice president knows that company, Campbell's, in and out. You know. Now, does he know like every single little detail? No. But for the most part, he knows that company like the back of his goddamn hand. The audio has become a public relations nightmare for the soup maker. Despite Campbell's denials, the remarks about bioengineered and 3D printed chicken have bounced around social media and drawn the attention of Florida Attorney General James Uthmeyer, who said he would investigate the company. I love Florida. First of all, I'm from Florida. So there's a little bit of bias there. But dude, they are like one of the few states that actually get shit done. And I would say out of any state in the United States, they are like the number one state who seems to be fighting against the quote-unquote Illuminati, lizard people, elites, the Jews, whatever you want to fucking call them, whatever term works for you. I think they're Sabbatean Frankist. What was it? The other day we covered them taking fluoride out of the water, banning it. Couple years back, I think they even banned like chemtrails. Like, I don't know. I fucking love Florida, man. So, Florida law bans lab-grown meat. Uthmeyer posted on X. Our Consumer Protection Division is launching an investigation and will demand answers from Campbell's. The person in the recorded meeting had other criticisms for Campbell. He bemoaned the lack of innovation in the food industry and said the company overpaid for its 2023 acquisition of Sovos Brands, which makes Rao pastas for $2.7 billion. So I guess they're connected with Rao's pasta. Dropping a bunch of F-bombs, he said Sovos was just a recipe and a brand. So they're emphasizing that he dropped a bunch of F-bombs. Cussing does not bother me. I've been at work meetings and or just worked with people who cuss. That doesn't fucking bother me. Now being cussed at or being called names bothers me. But if my boss is sitting there like, fuck this shit, fuck that, like, this is fucking ridiculous, that doesn't really bother me. It's just being cussed at or yelled at that bothers me. Like I said, last year I had a manager come in drunk, cussing, and it wasn't that he was cussing that bothered me. It was the point that later after the meeting was fine. Except for one point where he was like making fun of me over a customer complaint, which was just a crazy lady. But it was after the meeting when he started yelling at us and screaming at us, cussing at us. Not cussing in general, but cussing at us that bothered me. But if this guy's just dropping F-bombs, who cares? The guy snapped. His conscience came into play. We don't own a plant. Someone else manufactures it for us, he said, calling the situation smoke and mirrors. So this dude is literally like, like breaking the matrix, calling it smoke and mirrors. We don't even own a plant. Someone else manufactures it for us. I would love to know who manufactures it, But I don't know. I found that intriguing, and I wanted to talk about that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment below, and check out the Frankenfood playlist, which this will be added to. We got time for another story. Let's get into the next story. So this episode will also be put in another playlist I have called the Jurassic Park playlist. Go check it out if you're interested in like weird animals and shit like that. I do cover it on this channel because I find it intriguing, so I will put it under that playlist also. A lot of that playlist is like them bringing animals back from the dead and shit like that. So, a bee named Lucifer. I don't know, I just found this interesting, the name of the bee, and the bee itself has horns. So, I've always been interested in the bees in general because apparently, like, we have a decline of bees and bees pollinate, and Einstein said once the bees are extinct, the planet has like 3 years left. Scientists in Australia discovered a new species of native bee, which she named Lucifer because it has horns. I don't know, I just found it interesting the things they name these things, you know. Many things are unknown about native bees, and it's unclear what purpose the horns serve. So this is an interview segment. Joanna Summers is the host, and Katia Riddle is the person, I guess, the scientist. So we're just going to read a segment of this interview. A number of years ago, and this is the host, Joanna Summers says, a number of years ago in a remote part of Western Australia, a researcher discovered a new species of bees. Now it's being introduced to the world. One thing that makes this newcomer unique is that it has horns. For that, it has been named Lucifer. NPR's Katia Riddle reports, so this is the reporter asking or saying, bee researcher and scientist Kit Pendergast stumbled onto this discovery when she was out collecting samples one day. She said it took 8 hours to get this far-flung part of the country. And then Kit says, it's this beautiful remote region, you know, typical of Australia. Riddle says she remembers bending over a small flower to collect it. Pendergast is an expert in native bees. She says it's important to understand the role that they play in the ecosystem, which I just mentioned. Many are endangered, she says, without knowing which native bees exist and what plants they depend on. We risk losing both before we even know what they are. That's why she came to this remote location. Pendergast says, I've never seen so many native bees, wasps, and flies just like going in your nose and in your eyes and in your mouth. Riddle says she's seen hundreds of different species. They are diverse and are still unknown. The one that caught her eye that day had a very distinctive feature she'd never seen before. Horns. Only in the females. Of course, all females have horns. Sorry. Sexist. Pendergast says, I thought it was cool that the female had horns because in most animals, the males are the ones with horns or ornamentation. Riddle says she published her findings recent in the Journal of Hymenoptera Research. Yeah, okay, I said that good. Sorry. Pats on back. When a taxonomist identified a new species, they get to name it, including the genus name. This one is called Megachile Lucifer. So yeah, like girl power, laughter, to the Megachile Lucifer, says Pendergast. Riddle says it's not clear what the purpose the horns serve, she says. I'm curious if this bee pollinates, you know, because I'm all for I'm pro bees pollinating, you know, that keeps the planet going, you know. Pendergast says it could be related to nest defense or gathering pollen. So, okay, it's cool. It helps gather pollen or nest defense, defending its nest. So that's kind of cool. It would like use it in battle. I mean, this is like Pokemon shit. You know, observations of the female at the nest are required. Riddle says other names she considered Shakira, since she loves the singer, or after her cat Pickles. Can you imagine the pickle bee or the Shakira bee? That's fucking hilarious. Pendergast says, I was like, oh, I could call it Megachile Pickles or Megachile Shakira, or it's got the horns. I could call it Megachile Horny Pickles. That would have been awesome. There is a horny toad out there, because it's horns, you know. In the end, she says Lucifer won out. Now, this is where the conspiracy community would go, like, you know, I don't know. They would go satanic panic on it, which is fine. That's why I'm reporting on it, you know. Because everybody's like, oh my God, there's a bee. It's the Lucifer bee. It's got horns, you know. Pendergast says, Lucifer, let's go with Lucifer. So Riddle says, aside from the reference to the devil, she says the name Lucifer has a Latin translation, the bringer of light. She hopes this Lucifer bee will bring light to the urgency of studying native bees while we still can. Katia Riddle and BR News. There you have it. Campbell's Soup vice president went nuts, and there's a satanic bee discovered in Australia. Let me know what you guys think about both of these stories. I just wanted to cover them. It's all conspiracy related, it's all entertaining, and it's all intriguing to me. Like I said, if I don't see you all tomorrow, happy Thanksgiving. Please like, share, and subscribe, and you all have a good day.